Oh, better than that. Come on. How are we today? Yay! There we go. We are here to talk about one of Montana's favorite pastimes, which is being in the outdoors in any way, shape, or form. Today, it's specifically backpacking, but we'll get to that in just a minute. My name is Sarah Colley. I'm the Community Engagement Coordinator here at the Great Falls Public Library. I have the distinct honor to be able to bring amazing programming and opportunities to all of you guys here in the community through a variety of different ways, such as Armchair Traveler. We also have author talks, documentaries, events, and all sorts of things in between. It's a lot of fun to be here, and I really enjoy having all of you guys here with us as well. A full house is always something exciting to celebrate here at the library. So I'll pull up more chairs, and maybe we'll have an even more fuller house. Whatever, it's fine. Armchair Traveler is a program that is funded by the Great Falls Public Library Foundation. And its main purpose is to help us get out and about in the world without maybe leaving our seats. Not everybody has the opportunity to travel a whole heck of a lot, so being able to bring traveling to you through Armchair Traveler is a great opportunity. This is a program that starts in September every year and goes through June. We take July and August off because that's when we do music in the park, so get ready for that too. But there's always something happening here, and Armchair Traveler is a lot of fun. One of the things that we started this year, thanks to the foundation, is providing food for you at every single one of the Armchair Travelers based on where we are going. So today, we were backpacking. As I mentioned previously before everybody got here, Amy's favorite snacks while backpacking is peanut butter and jelly, nacho cheese Doritos, and Coca-Cola. So that's what's on the back table there. Woo! Love it! So please have some snacks and food. Every month it's something different, so come back next month and we'll have a different meal available for you. We'll talk about that at the end of this program. So, Amy Pearson is a writer and a teacher. She grew up on a farm in north central Montana and earned a PhD in organizational communication from Arizona State University. She has worked for the Park Service, Forest Service, in the environmental nonprofit sector, and is now a professor at Great Falls College. Amy is also a poet and a community organizer and loves Great Falls in all ways, from what I can tell at least. And she is a great part of what makes Great Falls and the community that we have as robust as what we have. So without further ado, please welcome Amy.
Thank you, Sarah, so much. And thank you, Great Falls Public Library, for having me. And thank you, all of you, for being here tonight on this beautiful early March evening to talk about backpacking. I love that this series is Armchair Traveler, and it's about places from all over the world. And to be honest, there's nowhere I would rather be most of the time than right here in Montana. And particularly in the Bob Marshall Wilderness. So that's where I'll be taking you tonight. And I thought I would start out by just talking a little bit about how I got interested in backpacking in the first place. Like Sarah said, I grew up in this area. My folks had a farm north of Conrad and a family ranch west of DePuyere. Anybody know where DePuyere, Montana is? Sweet. So right there on the Rocky Mountain front. So I grew up in that area looking at the Rockies and looking at the Bob, and spending time there even when I was a little kid. And so I started getting more interested in backpacking, I would say, when I worked for the Park Service in Glacier and the Forest Service in the Bob Marshall Wilderness. I would say my Park Service opportunities, the first one I had was as a researcher when I was working on my master's degree at the University of Montana. I did research in Glacier National Park. I was interested in particularly learning about the women who worked there and what motivated them to work for the organization and what their experiences were like. And so I started to spend more time back in the woods and had my first experience backpacking by myself. And I thought, hey, this is kind of cool. I kind of like this. And You know, when you first start out, it's a little bit scary, but I started to get more and more comfortable with it and doing longer and longer trips. And that, I guess, leads me to talking a little bit about what I want to focus on tonight, which is different parts of the Continental Divide Trail that run through the Bob Marshall Wilderness. I did hike the CDT, I'm just going to call it that instead of the Continental Divide Trail because that's really hard to say, and it's known as the CDT. I did hike the trail starting in Canada at the Chief Mountain entry point and down to Medicine on the east side of Glacier National Park. So I did do all of that section and the longest section of the Bob the same summer. But tonight I really want to focus on the Bob section because that's where we're going tonight, is into the Bob Marshall Wilderness, okay? I would like to talk with you about what you should bring on a backpacking trip, like the one that I will be describing. And I'll talk to you a little bit about some of the experiences that you might have, and then I'll pose the question to you and answer it for myself about why you would want to do something like this in the first place. Just based on the looks of my audience, you probably all have a little bit of backpacking experience yourself, but I would love to hear some of your stories too and what your questions are about my experiences, okay? But we'll start off, I'll talk to you about the CDT in general. I've got a map here, a rough map of the trail, starting up there in Canada, where I started, and then going all the way down to Mexico. It's a total of about 3,100 miles. Have any of you hiked? Usually there is somebody who has hiked the trail before. Anyone in here hiked the trail? Anyone in here hiked sections of the trail? Probably a lot of us. Okay. Terrific, yeah. And I had hiked, I think, all of the glacier aspects of the CDT before, but not in succession, so that was a different experience. But I had not hiked some of the portions of the Bob section of the CDT, starting at Marias Pass, and then heading south to Benchmark. That was the first stint I did. And then my husband and I continued from Benchmark all the way down to Rogers Pass for the next section, which we did last summer. But let's talk about a few other aspects of the Continental Divide Trail. Here's just some other information about it. Most people who hike this trail, which was designated by Congress in 1978, take about 5 months to hike it total. When I hiked the glacier portion of the trail, I did hike with a friend who completed the whole trail in about 4 months. She was a pretty fast hiker, and I had that experience hiking with her. So she completed the entire trail, but I just did the glacier portion with her.
Wasn't there someone who hiked all 3 trails in 1 year?
Oh yeah, there's all sorts of wild things people do. Let's talk about the Bob Marshall Wilderness in general here. Next, does this face look familiar to some of you? I love this picture of him. I think it's just maybe demonstrates his vibrant spirit based on what I know of him. Bob Marshall was an amazing human being, and he did a lot for wildlands across the country. And he is who our big wilderness area that's about 1.5 million acres is named for. Bob was from New York originally, but he was fascinated with this concept of wilderness and was one of the founders of the Wilderness Society too. And we're so fortunate that he spent some time here in Montana and helped to, this wilderness was named after him. And it was designated in 1964. We'll keep going though. What to bring on a backpacking trip. I love this photo, which I took before I started one of my longer trips, because to me it's a reminder of the small things that you should try to remember when you're going on a backpacking trip. I think a lot of us will remember or think of, well, we need to have our tent situation figured out, we need to have our sleeping bag, we need to have bear spray, but we also need to have maybe a Band-Aid, a lighter is key. maybe some allergy medicine for some of us, and coffee for some of us. And so I like this photo as just as a little reminder. And I also wanted to draw your attention in particular to this image here, which is basically my brainstorm of how many days that I would probably be on the trail and where I might try to hike to on each of those days. So that's how I start out when I'm planning a trip, is I figure out where I'm beginning, where I'm ending, how much time that I have, because that's a big part of it for a lot of us, and how far I could possibly go in a day or two, considering the magnitude of the trip, and I kind of map it out, okay? I have my map. This is the map that I took with me on this particular trip. It was a Nat Geo map, not the best choice in my opinion, but it got me there. And so I used this map to kind of map out my mileage every day to kind of get a sense for how much food that I would then need, because that would be the next step that I would do on any backpacking trip. So based on how many days, then I would start putting my rations together for the journey. And I just thought I'd show you kind of how I go about doing this. There are a million infinite ways that you might just make decisions and different gear that you might use, but I thought it might just be interesting to see how somebody does it. I like these freeze-dried meals. Any of you in here like these or have used them? Okay. You don't like them. I feel like they're increasingly getting quite delicious all the time. And then to supplement the taste, you can also get these handy little containers to put salt and pepper in. This is just a cute, there are all sorts of things out there now. I recommend going to Bighorn Outdoor Specialists to get a lot of delicious supplies. And there's a little plug for one of my favorite businesses. But I like these freeze-dried meals. I usually pack those for my breakfast and dinner options. Then I always have, this is straight from the trail, leftover trail mix. I have just a stash that's been going for a couple of years. And then I bring granola bars along for supplements, and some of these kind of fun, fancier little, anyone ever heard of these sport beans, jelly beans? They have a little bit of caffeine in them and they're really yummy. It'll instantly like spark you up, a little bit of energy. Yeah, some of you know what I'm talking about. And then these honey stingers too, just a little bit of sweet energy. Yeah, I'm seeing nods. People know these things. They can help you in a pinch. My mother swears by these jelly beans. She went on a backpack with my husband and I at one time, and it was kind of lagging a little. We gave her one bean. And she was like, oh, wow, yeah, let's go. That was a testament to the goods. So then, put all your food together. This is my food sack that I use. People have different systems that they like. But I pack it all in here. I thought I'd show you my bear hanging situation that I do. Everyone does that differently too. But I use this, and I get it all ready. And I have a carabiner that I use with P-cord on it. Well, I like to hang my food. Some people use bear canisters. Do you all know what a bear canister is? Yeah. And those are good options, except they add a little bit of weight, I would say, and kind of some awkwardness to packing your bag. But I go kind of a more old-fashioned way, I guess, with this. And then you just take your carabiner out after you've tied this on. Have you all spent a little bit of time trying to get it hung out over this? Yeah, that's my favorite part, actually, when we get to the campsite, is figuring that out. And then you just pull up your food and hang it. And then, of course, you've got your other food situation. I have a little fuel tank that I use, and a little pocket rocket that you hook on. Boil your water like that, and just pour it in to make your instant food. So that's always coming along with me. And then, pretty simple. I like to keep things pretty simple, and that's just kind of my style. Let's see, what else are we going to bring out of this trip? We definitely need a tent for this journey that I was doing by myself, by the way. I guess I forgot to mention that part. The first part of this Bob trip was a 7-day journey from Marias Pass to Benchmark. And I went to Bighorn, and I talked to Chris Latham, and I told him what I was doing, and he said, you should just buy this little Eureka tent. I think it was like $100. There are a lot of nicer options, especially those that do the whole CDT. You've probably seen some of the tents that they use. They're very nice. Not like this, but it worked. So it's just a one-person tent that I would just set up really quickly and take down really easily. I've got my little down sleeping bag, my air mat that I blow up, and that's pretty much it for our sleeping situation. Then I've got layers of clothes. I'm getting hot because I wanted to dress how I would for the trail. I've got long underwear layered on and fleece. I always wear pants. Some people wear shorts. I just don't feel comfortable. I always wear pants. My Oboz hiking boots that I got from Bighorn. Might say that a couple of times. Nice Patagonia upper layer, outer layer, rain jacket, just in case for the elements, and a heavier rain-resistant coat, and I usually use this to help with bedding too. My hat, extra pair of socks, sandals for water crossings, headlamp for night escapades, and reading, very, very important. And this is the book that I had with me that trip that I read. I read the whole thing. Journal, also very important, and a pen so you can write everything down. Pack cover, there's my pack over there. Benadryl, sunglasses, toilet paper, bear spray. Did I get everything?
Yeah.
Did I miss anything?
Really not much lunch.
Toilet paper, check. Oh, water, yes.
Wait a minute, you don't need
About
that
water.
anymore. You don't need that anymore. You get the little fungus tablets.
There are a lot of options, yes, absolutely. Let me show you, so for water, what I do is I use this little filter here, which is really convenient. Guess where I got this? So you put the end in the water source and then just put it like that into your water bottle. Very convenient. There are a lot of other ways to do that. I just recently got a Grail water bottle and water filter from Bighorn that we took with us to South America, and that's very convenient because it acts as a filter and a water bottle simultaneously, but I haven't used it yet in the backcountry, but that's another option. So yes, this is just kind of my system and my situation and what I bring. It made me extremely happy to get all of these things out today and feel excited for the summer coming up and getting back out there. But any questions about any of these items or thoughts about what you would do? Yeah.
What is the combined weight of all those items? About 30 pounds?
Well, I think it was closer to 50 when I had everything last summer. And most of that really is going to be the food weight. Yeah. But it does lessen, yeah. I carried too much. Even though I'm pretty simple, I think I needed to lighten my load. But that was a 7-day journey. Yeah, so the food just gets really big and bulky, but yeah.
I was wondering about your lighting source. You know, you said you were reading. Would that just be the head?
Yeah, thanks for asking that. Absolutely. At night, I would just put my headlamp on, and it has a capacity to move. So this is on your head. And you can move this light to angle it a little bit too. And then just read away. So if I would wake up too in the night and just couldn't sleep, I would just read too. So it's a good, yeah. Any other questions about gear? Yeah, Pearson.
Do you bring a Garmin and power bank?
Let's see.
Like a satellite tracker?
Oh, no. But I'm going to share some experiences with you a little bit later that demonstrated to me that that would probably be a really good thing to do. Yeah. Do you have one that you like to use that you bring?
We've used the InTouch, but now we just use our phones.
Yeah. Do you have an app on your phone that you can use?
No, the iPhones now have satellite messaging.
Oh, okay. You'll have to show me how to do that, maybe. Maybe I have that capacity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The phones now have satellite.
Don't put a camera in the situation.
No, that's too heavy to bring.
What did you do about sore feet or blisters? Did you have extra insoles to put in? Or?
No, I did have some feet concerns at the end, is how I would put it, but I didn't bring anything for along the way. But that might be another good consideration. Yeah, because that did become kind of an issue. Okay, what to bring? All the things, but not too many things. It's a balancing act all the time, I would say. Let's talk about some of those experiences that I had when I was out there. This particular trip. Where did I put that clicker? There it is. What you might encounter. So this photo here was taken at the trailhead at Moraes Pass when my husband Jesse, I have a pointer, so I'm pointing out. Jesse dropped me off. And it took us a while to find the trailhead itself, which I didn't factor into my timing of the day, and just something to kind of think about. So this is where I started, and this was where I stayed the first night. You can see my backpack there against the tree. There's my food hanging up right there. Anyway, I'm going to show you some pictures, and then I'm going to read you some things that I wrote in this journal along the way, okay, to tell you, share with you some of my experiences.
You should try to find it where it's in the snow.
Anybody recognize this place? It is the wall. So you walk by the wall. I ran into some people I knew, which was so fantastic. So this is the last part of the journey from Benchmark to Rogers Pass. Jesse came with me, and our dog also came with us, which is really fun. Just look at that view, though. Don't you just want to get out there? Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm going to read you a couple little things that I wrote to demonstrate the experience. Some of you have heard about this before. It was section 145, and this bird came out of nowhere, straight towards me. So I somewhat ducked and initially thought it was cool. And then the bird started to dive bomb me back and forth, both directions of the trail. I was sprinting and then finally found a stick, which I used to protect my head. I thought it must have a nest in the area, and it would probably leave me alone when I got past it, but it wouldn't stop. And it was really scary. I was finally hiding in the trees so it couldn't dive bomb me. It was making this crazy chirping sound, just like a self-righteous emergency click. I decided I needed to outsmart it. Since it couldn't dive bomb me in the trees, I started to move south off the trail, hiding in the trees after it did a flyback somewhat behind me. I was walking fast because I could still hear it clicking, and I was trying to stick to the trees. Then I decided I was far enough away from the bird to get back on the trail, except I couldn't find the trail. This is when panic somewhat set in. I walked up a ways where I thought it should be and couldn't find it. Then I walked way down and found the creek, but not the trail. So I decided to walk up again slowly, checking anything that might be the path. Then I remembered to also look at the trees. I finally saw a cut log, and my next step still wasn't the trail, but the next step was. It was a huge relief. But it took me a long time to calm down. And I was noticing all of the birds. It was a big bird, mostly white with gray striped feathers and a curved, vicious beak. It wanted to kill me. A little missive from the trail. I mean, you expect we all know to be bear aware, we hear stories, we have our spray. I was not it was not in my mind in any way or capacity that I would maybe have to deal with a bird. But now I know, so I'll be a little more prepared in the future. Since that time, I've learned that it probably was a goshawk they're very territorial, and probably there was a nest, and that's what was going on. So the bird didn't do anything wrong, it just was surprising and scary to me. All right, I mentioned that I ran into some people I knew along the trail, which is just so, felt very lucky, right, and serendipitous. The only redeeming factor of this day that I'm describing was running into Greg and his young friend Adele on a string of stock. So we chatted for a bit. It was hot and sunny, and I couldn't find Lake LaVale. It wasn't on the trail. I saw a little black bear, and then I was making dinner by a creek, and this guy showed up. I spooked him. The man scared me with talk of a grizzly tearing up a bunch of terrain, which I later saw. He said there was a circus going on at a campsite he wanted, which intrigued me because the idea of camping near people is appealing when there's talk of a grizzly. And then that night I was writing, I hope I sleep, I hope the bears stay away, I hope to see some people tomorrow and stay safe. I can do this, I am so close. Just need to figure out the leftover mileage and go as far as I have these next 3 days. I pray my feet will be okay, that I will be safe. I miss my family and home. I'm getting closer though. Shouldn't be any other mishaps, I'm thinking. I was wrong.
And you give me more.
I thought yesterday was bad, but it'd be hard to get worse than today. It was bad. I missed the turn to Shale Creek, largely because I was chugging along and not paying attention, but it also wasn't marked. In my mind, there was one trail, so I could plod along. Wrong. There was a rugged switchback trail going up and over the ridge into the South Fork of Shale Creek. So I hit the end of that trail, and then I was like, now what? I knew where I ultimately needed to go, so I did my darndest to get up there, plodding through game trails and convincing myself it was an old trail or something. It wasn't. I got nearly to this extremely steep treed area heading up the ridge on the other side of the valley, and I was like, this is insane. I'm turning back. I followed the game trails back for the most part. It was a lot of work going up and down. I finally got back to the trail by the first creek, and I was having a hard time trying to find the trail. And I go on and on writing about like all these turns and different ways of trying to find my way back. And if you've ever been lost, you know that you start to get anxiety. You might potentially start to get anxiety. And that when that starts to happen, it's not necessarily helping you to find your way because you're not really as aware because you're worried or kind of worked up. So I kind of got myself into that headspace and ended up getting up on the ridge. So I was in the wrong valley, and I was trying to get back when I realized I'd missed the trail to the right valley and by finding the real trail, but I couldn't find it. So I ended up on the ridge, and I hate even going back into this headspace of where I was at or that, thinking about that place. But I ended up kind of on a rocky area and overlooking the correct valley. And I looked out at one point, I was taking a little rest, and I saw a stock train coming from in that area. And I just thought to myself that I could get to them. So that kind of helped to ground me, I would say, as seeing them. And I was able to eventually hike down and go out and find them. So I was lost for about 8 hours.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was a real I got lost situation. and I was in a place where you wouldn't probably be looking for me because I had missed the turn heading east and had gone up, because there's one section of this CDT, I should have got that part of the map, that goes back out, so you're hiking along like the wall, the Chinese wall. It's further north where I got lost, but it's like that a lot of the way. You're hiking along, you go up, you go down, it's kind of like that, but this one section, the trail actually goes out and goes around for whatever reason, so I missed that. I just assumed I was gonna keep going straight, and so I had to, so that's what happened basically, and then I had to try to catch up with my mileage because, and I should have mentioned this earlier, my plan for getting picked up was that in 7 days from when I started, my husband would just pick me up at the trailhead at Benchmark. And so our plan was, if I wasn't there by that night, he would alert people that I hadn't made it, and so they would, send out to try to find me. It's just not a great plan, right? Because I lost 8 hours. Then if I wasn't there, I should have just given myself a little bit more time, basically, because I wasn't in any kind of big rush for this trip, but I was trying to hike long mileages like a lot of the CDT hikers will, right? So I did a legit CDT, but it wasn't really necessary. But so I got lost, and that was quite an experience. But there were other parts of this experience too that I want to point out. When I finished this particular trip, I felt extremely grateful and extremely thankful for the ease and efficiency of our normal lives, right? So I got back and I was only out there for 7 days, but just that getting lost part itself made me really revalue all the things in my life that I'm grateful for. That sounds so cliche, but it's really how I felt. I just felt very grateful and thankful for my family and for being alive. So it filled me with empathy, I guess, is the way to put it. I also wanted to talk a little bit about this section of the trip that I did with my husband and our dog. And our dog, Donna, has her own little backpack, which we got at Bighorn. And this was our first backpacking trip with Donna. And it was really fun to have a dog on the trip. I had not done a backpack with a dog before, and she did such a good job. She did way better than my husband and I would say. She was a trooper. And do you want to share anything about this part of the trip, Jessie? Or any stories come to mind from our experience?
Can I talk to you?
Yeah.
Just a minute.
I'm gonna talk to her.
Talk.
Justin, anything come to mind?
Wanna know my name? My
What
name's
is it?
Jasper.
Hi, Jasper. Nice to meet you.
Know what? Me and my dad go hunting when it's hunting season. And
Awesome.
know what? He brings hunting donuts with us, and those help us through the night, so then we could still be full. And then when we get back, then we would come back and tell my mom what I did.
Cool. I want some hunting donuts. Next trip. So I would say, at least for me, one of the, all the open space, you can kind of get a sense of it from this picture here. Just laid out like that with the mountain going up. It was just incredible. The views were just absolutely insanely beautiful, and you could like this picture too. And we had a couple of our own mishaps too, as you just do. That's kind of part of the gig if you're going backpacking. And learning to move through those little issues and obstacles that come up is also, I think, part of what you can learn when you're back there. And I'm going to talk a little more about that later. But it was just absolutely beautiful. We didn't see too many people when we were hiking this section. There was one day where there were quite a few CDT hikers that were camped at the one water source that was in the area. And so we had a little community that one night of other hikers. But overall, very wonderful
Were there
4-day trip.
any cairns, stacked rocks or stuff like that to mark the trail?
There were a few cairns in some areas, yeah, where especially on some of the ridges, the trail would be kind of wiped out a little bit, so it would be hard to know where it was, so.
Should be,
Sometimes.
there are a lot of Rogers Paths.
And then here's kind of a summary of this overall trip. Yeah.
Wow, 22 miles.
Yeah. But only one bear the whole time, which I like to see them at. And there were probably a few deer or something too that we saw, but not too much wildlife. Somebody asked if I plan to continue to hike on the CDT, and I noticed that I think I've done a really beautiful section of it, right? If I've done the glacier at the bottom section, I started to run into roads on the trail south of Rogers. Yeah, it's okay, but it's not the same experience, right? As being back in the wilderness, we're not gonna have roads or cell phone service, but I might hike a little bit more of it. We'll see how that goes. So why backpack? I have a slide and I want to talk about, I read to you some of the hardships that I encountered in the experience. You can see from the photos, and a lot of you have been back there before, it's obviously very stunning. It's beautiful to be back there, and that's a reason to be back there too in itself. But why do something like this? Why go on a backpack? Why go in the bob for 7 days? I'd love to hear, where do you want to start with this?
Well, I think there's something about being self-sufficient, totally dependent on you, and I haven't gone by myself, but totally being your group, but you're depending on one another, but you have everything you need on your back, and that's a pretty cool feeling.
Yeah, I agree. I really like that feeling too. Everything you need in this backpack to survive for, however long.
Every step you're taking, thinking, I probably didn't need that.
Yeah. Couple things could have left out, a couple things could have put in. Usually, yeah.
Easy to pack too much food.
I tend to bring too many clothes, honestly. But what else? Why go on a backpack in the bob? What are some of the reasons that we go on a journey like this?
You meet interesting people.
Oh yeah.
I met somebody who spoke Susuju, which I haven't met anybody who spoke Susuju since I left Lesujus, which was 40 years ago.
Whoa. Yeah. So the people that you encounter are also very interesting, and that's definitely true. The other people that are there.
The night sky.
Oh, yeah.
The night sky.
Oh,
The stars only, if we're lucky, and not other light. Yeah, absolutely. Anyone else have anything that comes to mind?
The first night's sleep after you get back, when you're just like, your head hits the pillow and you're like, oh my gosh, this is actually heaven. I've been sleeping on rocks for 11 days, and it's just like so relieving to get, like, you sleep like a brick. I know that's like, seriously, like I will like sleep for like 12 hours after I get back. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. It's so true though, right? The things that we enjoy even more when we get back, but also like you're saying, it's something we look forward to even on the trip. Yeah. Somebody was asking me and I bet you would all relate to this too, when you've been even on a long day hike and you're kind of thinking about, what am I going to eat for dinner?
Yeah.
Or what are we going to eat? Yeah. It's kind of a rallying call in a similar way, right? I'm going to have my bed, or I'm going to get pizza, or whatever it is that we enjoy. Yeah. Good. I just made a little list here that relates to some of the things we've already talked about, but the adventure of it, just the sheer adventure of it, going on this experience that you maybe haven't done before, to see what it's going to be like, or just to see what you're going to encounter. Whether those are enjoyable, fun moments or amazing experiences like seeing the beauty of the sky at night, or this bird just dive bombing you. I mean, that is very unique, right? I've been talking about it since it happened. It's just interesting. We learn when we're out there too. We learn so much, I think, about ourselves and what we can do as a human being with our bodies, how we can go places on our own, and when we do encounter obstacles, figuring out how to problem solve to get through those. We learn a lot about what we're capable of and our abilities. We learn about the landscape. We learn about the trails. We learn about the rocks, right? Even just through observation, we're learning and picking up knowledge. The freedom of the road. It's not a road, ideally, but just that sense, Sarah and I were talking before we started here, of I can run and I can skip and I can sit here and look at the stars for as long as I would like to in an undisturbed way, and there's something that feeds my spirit when I can have those experiences. Do you know what I'm talking about? It's a connecting feeling, I would say, and empowering feeling. I think that especially for some of us women too, we didn't grow up necessarily being taught or told that we could go do something like a very long hike by ourselves and without assistance, but we can, and doing something like that is very empowering. And for me, I also found the woods and the mountains and these kinds of experiences to be quite healing in some ways. You can go back there and just be you, and no one's looking at you like you're all looking at me now. No, nobody has expectations for you on how you have to be or who you should be. You just get to be who you are, and I think that is really important and empowering. We gain strength, physical strength from being back there, mental strength from going through experiences and finding the fortitude to do that. And then we learn about how important these places are to us, which of course propels us to want to protect and keep these places intact the way that they are, right? We want them to be as they are so we can appreciate and enjoy them as we are. And these are some of the reasons that I go there, and I go on these backpacks. I would say for me it is one of the greatest sources of meaning in my life, is to go out there and go backpacking and just be back there in the woods. It's very, very special and very important to me. I'll just end with this slide. I know we looked at it already, but I think wilderness is powerful. I think being out there is powerful and wonderful and just the ultimate. So I'd love to open it up if you thought of any other questions. We talked about what you might bring. We talked about some experiences that you might have. There are a lot more experiences we could talk about and share, and some of the reasons we go there, but did any questions come to mind? Yeah.
When you get up there on the Continental Divide, there are no signs other than at the trailheads, right?
There are a few signs that might have a trail number on them, for instance, but for the most part, there are not too many. And that is a key difference between hiking in the wilderness, in the Bob, versus in Glacier, for instance, where you will have a lot more direction and signage. Yeah.
And the map that you took up there, you said really wasn't sufficient for you to determine where the trail was versus where you were. Is that right?
Right. I think, yeah, this map isn't as detailed or connected to the landscape as it could be, which might have been helpful when I was struggling. But also, you know, GPS could be helpful for navigation too. And there are so many different technologies that are available that, or even just a better map that could have been helpful on that trip, yeah. Yeah.
So do you take your phone?
I do take my phone, but I usually just use it to take pictures.
Yeah. So you don't take a power bank to?
Oh, you were asking about that too.
Yeah,
I do
Yeah.
take a little power bank
yeah,
to charge it up when I need to.
yeah.
Yeah, and that's really,
That's heavy.
those are a little bit heavy,
Yeah.
yeah. But I know, I saw the CDTers that do the whole journey have really great technology, and they just seem to know the places where you can hike out to get the refuel up for your food too, and for your devices. So when I did Glacier with my friend, we came out, obviously at Many Glacier you can get electricity, and then at St. Mary, we had electricity, but in the hotel, so there were 25 CDTers all with their devices plugged in, you know, checking messages and getting fueled up, so that's definitely part of it now,
Yeah.
too, yeah. Any other questions, or anybody think of anything? Yeah.
So you did 11 days. How can in the slide with you, your husband, and your dog when you're getting close to one of the summits? Like, how long would it take to hike into that area?
Mm.
If you go back like 3
She said
slides,
7
Yeah.
days.
She did one that was
like, would you think that would be like a 2-day in sort of thing?
Oh,
Right there on your left.
this one?
Like, how long would you say it took you to get into there? Because obviously
Yeah.
your husband's with you at that point, so he met
Yeah.
you where?
Well, we started at Benchmark and then hiked south to Rogers Pass.
Okay.
This is probably closer to Rogers Pass. This is probably our 3rd day of 4 getting to Rogers. So you could probably hike to this place in 2 days from Rogers Pass if you're heading north. Yeah,
Okay.
I'd be happy to.
But there's no water, is there?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
That was one of the biggest challenges on that section. Yeah, the water source were not available. That's good you know that. Yeah. So bring a lot of water on that section. And I don't do a lot of great research in advance, and so we were struggling. But we were at Alice Pass, or what is the name of that one? Alice Creek, and we're able to hike down from the trail to refuel there, or get water there, but yeah, probably 2 days.
Okay.
Do you like that, the look of that?
Yeah, I love like the 10,000 and plus area. Like, I feel like even though the oxygen thins out a little bit, I always have this like moment of like serenity where I'm like, this is where I was supposed to be at this moment. I'm like sitting down after hiking for like 5 hours, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's just like my moment. I don't know.
I can't breathe and I love it.
Yeah, I know. It sounds goofy, but it's just like, I always just like find myself like sitting down and just like staring out at and the pictures don't do it justice on what you can see, but like I always find that moment of just like, oh my God, this is where I'm supposed to be right now.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to explain it.
I totally know what you're saying. You know that feeling. Any other questions come to mind? Yeah, Sarah.
I was wondering about your sleeping bag. It looks so tiny. How, what does it open up into? Like is it a mummy bag or a?
This is a sweet little down hugger, it's called. And so do you want to actually see it?
Well, you don't want to have to pack it all up again,
No, this is a nice little sleeping bag, but I do get, so this is kind of what it looks like.
but. Oh my God. Is it warm?
It's pretty warm for a smaller sleeping bag and kind of a lightweight sleeping bag. I tend to get cold though, but that's probably why I bring all the clothes, because I just wear them.
Yes, right.
And
Wear them to bed.
Yeah, just surround everything I have. Yeah, I could probably get a different sleeping bag. We've been talking about that. Maybe a little heavier, but that's extra weight sometimes that you have to carry, so.
Right.
Food or sleeping bag? It's, yeah, it's a tough question.
I would just add to the reasons why backpack, at least for me, it's to escape the noise. It's nice to be gone for a week or whatever and then realize I haven't really missed anything.
Yeah, thank you so much for saying that. I agree. Or even we were talking about a day just to get away. If you can't carve out a week, you can go on a hike, a day hike, and immediately it does seem like your perspective could change, right? There's a calmness from staying away from some of the noise. I think that's what you're referencing. The noise of society.
You're not wrong though.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyone else have a question about the backpacking or, yeah?
What's your favorite freeze-dried food brand?
Oh. This Mountain House is pretty good. I'm trying to think of the other one that I usually get, what brand it
There's
is.
Peak. There's Peak.
Maybe.
Mountain,
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
Mountain House, yeah.
I really think the scrambled eggs or with bacon are really good.
No,
I like the breakfast in general for the freeze dried.
yeah.
And yeah, thanks for asking. Bighorn will be able to answer any questions.
So did you build a fire every night that you were out, or did you forgo fire most of the time?
No, I didn't have a fire on this trip. I can't remember if there were restrictions or not, but honestly, I went around, well, at least 15 miles every day with a pretty big pack going up, and I was pretty tired by the end of the day, and I would just crash out. But yeah, that's always nice when you can have a fire out there, for sure. Yeah. All right. Anyone else? We got done.
So we also go with the dog sometimes when we're not in Glacier, and we just have a fun time thinking about what's it like from the dog's perspective, what we're doing, like why are we sleeping in a tent, why do we hike every day, is this what the rest of my life's gonna be? So I wonder if I ever thought about what your dog's thinking of
How would we ever leave this place?
Yeah, exactly. Yes, is there a bear over there? I don't know. Squirrel.
I just love that question. I'm not quite sure how to respond except to say, in general, I feel like Donna and I are pretty aligned in our thinking. Just me kind of projecting a little bit, but see, look at us both there staring off at the distance. I think she's thinking this is extraordinary.
Well, what about it? Does she appreciate it?
I don't.
Did she appreciate her dog bed when she got home?
Her treats when she got home, just like us. Yeah. Well, honestly, after an adventure though, Donna gets pretty down. And this may be me projecting again, but because I always feel like, oh, the big journey is over and I'm a little bit like, down in the dumps and like, and I see our dog and Donna's just kind of like, oh, when are we gonna, I'm so bored. When are we gonna go again? I don't know. What do you think, Jess? Or...
Yeah, I mean, we have a sense of her getting kind of depressed after getting back from a trip like this.
It's post-mountain blues.
Yeah. So she must just be loving it.
Yeah.
Did you think so?
So, just with the dog in mind, I used to take my dog backpacking all the time, and I actually had to buy booties for him because his paws, especially in the bob with all the shale, his paws would just get destroyed. And my dog he was a bit bigger than yours. He can't really carry a 60-pound dog around. Have you guys run into any issues with that with your dog, or is she still just like young and ready to run?
Yeah. We haven't really noticed issues, but I've seen the booties and we love getting our dog gear. So.
And Bighorn?
I think Bighorn has some, yeah.
She has a life jacket. I think, booties might be a good thing if we were doing more off-trail. We actually kept her pretty much on the leash just because we didn't want her to be running around using a lot of her extra energy, maybe. We're a little overprotective, but I think we were.
I was gonna ask about that, because with wildlife and stuff,
Yeah.
how did you keep your dog from running off and after little animals or something?
Yeah, and I think that is where it started initially, is that she was chasing some gophers or something, Jess, do you remember? And so we were like, none of us can do this right now, so let's put her on the leash, and that really helped.
I haven't taken my dog hiking, but I take my dog walking and running all the time. And when I get the leash, he is immediately and spinning and ready to go. And I think if you take her a lot, pretty soon when you get her equipment out, she'll be the same way.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Well, how did you provide water for the dog in that stretch where you were having trouble finding it for yourself?
Yeah. We were all hurting, yeah. We were rationing it, and, trying to give her as much as possible, but yeah.
You don't use a Camelback in your...
I don't really, I have in the past, but...
Because that's what I do, I squeeze the dog with water out of the Camelback,
Yeah. We have a little dog dish, they've got a big horn that we put, we put water in it, it's from our water bottles, but, alright. Cool. Alright, any other questions? One more question? Well, thank you so much, thanks for being here.
Thank you, Amy. That was very informative. I hope that we all learned a little bit of something. This is not sponsored by Bighorn Outdoor Specialists, but if Beth wants to give me a call, she totally can. I'm open for that. Thank you all so much for coming out today. We really appreciate seeing all of you. Just a reminder, there's always something happening here at the library. The next Armchair Traveler, we will be traveling to Thailand with Larry Phillips. He went last year, so he'll be talking about that. What are we gonna eat? I don't know yet. We'll figure that out. It'll be an adventure.
When?
That is the first Thursday of April. Yes, that's how the months work. We're doing great. And then on this is Thursday. On Tuesday of next week, to celebrate International Women's Day, we are going to be showing the story of us, the women who shaped Montana. It's a Montana PBS documentary. They are doing a special cut for us of all 3 episodes into one combined showing. So it'll be about an hour and a half altogether. That film will start at 6 o'clock right here in this room. And then next Thursday we have an author talk with Ken Robeson. He is going to be doing his new book, The Hidden Stories of Great Falls. The Hidden History of Great Falls. Thank you. I'm looking for you for the nod back there, so thanks. And then you talked about conservation a little bit earlier. We are partnering with the Sun River Watershed Group to also do stories from the river, and that is about conservation, community, and place. We have Pete Fromm, who is an author. He used to live here in Great Falls. He now lives in Missoula, but he wrote Indian Creek Chronicles and The Names of the Stars and a plethora of other amazing, incredible books. He is a wonderful storyteller, so he will be here on the 3rd Thursday of March to talk about all of that as a part of the Stories from the River series. So there's always something. I could keep going, but I won't. Thank you all so much for being here. There are still a few snacks left over in the back. Please take it, or I will have to eat them all. I appreciate seeing all of you. Did you have a question?
Well, I have a little trivia for everyone in the room that usually stumps 9 out of 10 people. So we have the Continental Divide here in Montana. First time I ever drove across North Dakota between Bismarck and Jamestown, I see a sign on the freeway and it says Continental Divide, 1,300 and some feet. And I'm thinking, no, that's back in Montana. I know what the Continental Divide is. finally, as I'm driving, I'm picturing in my mind the map of the US and that, and I figured out why they have a sign of the Continental Divide in North Dakota. How many people know why they say they have a Continental Divide there? And it cuts all the way across North Dakota.
Yeah, well, the Red River is north,
Half of the country's this way.
North to south?
goes,
North to south.
yeah. Goes.
Well, I'll give you a little hint. In Glacier Park, there is a peak that's called Triple Divide Peak.
Yeah.
There's one in Minnesota too.
So what's the answer that North Dakota can claim a Continental Divide?
Because it's, the water's going two different
Yes,
directions.
yes. And I've been meaning for the last 20 years or so to write a letter to the North Dakota Department of Highways saying, you need to add a sign on that's the watershed divide. And it takes the water from the Missouri watershed, and that's the dividing point of that, and the northern watershed. And I've even had some people who live in Fargo area, and I said, oh, what river's out there? Well, the Red River. Which way does the Red River flow? And these guys, young hockey players here, they did not know that the Red River flows north. But yeah, it's the watershed divide there. And it starts right here in Triple Divide in Glacier Park.
Thank you for that bit of fact. I love it. If anybody does want to learn more about the Continental Divide Trail itself, you can look up the Continental Divide Trail Alliance. They are the partner organization that helps manage the trail from border to border. So you can reach out to them. I believe Teresa is still the director. Don't quote me on that, but it's okay. But they have all the info you might need. So thanks again. We'll see you next time.